Rain poured under the bridge that night. The river spat out a young man in an expensive suit, bleeding and limp. Amina knelt beside him, water dripping from her hair, hands shaking. She thought she had just saved a stranger, but in less than a day, the whole city would know his name, and saving him would nearly cost her life. Amina had nothing, no home, no family, only the street and the sound of rain. That night, the river's current carried him to her feet like a gift or a curse. She shouted for help, but the only answer was the hum of the bridge above. She gripped his arms and began to pull, but as she struggled up the slope, she didn't see the two men in black coats watching from the shadows. 2 hours earlier, inside the governor's private residence, laughter floated through the hall. His only son, Obina, was leaving for London the next day. But the governor's trusted advisor, Chief Adekunle, wasn't celebrating. In his eyes, the boy's life was a ticket to power. A quiet plan was in motion. Kidnap the heir, force the governor's hand, claim the reward. No police, no witnesses, and the river would take the blame. Obina had been celebrating with a small circle of family and friends. Glasses clinked, soft music played from the grand piano in the corner. The governor had insisted he take a private car to the airport in the morning. But Obina, he wanted one last quiet night by the water. No security, no ceremony, just himself, the city lights, and the river that ran through his childhood memories. Chief Adekunle saw the opening. He made a discreet call. The men would be waiting by the bridge. The rain started just as Obina arrived at the riverbank. He parked his sleek black sedan by the edge of the embankment. The water shimmered under the dim streetlights. He didn't see the black SUV pull up behind him. He didn't hear the soft footsteps on wet concrete. A muffled shout, a sharp blow to the back of his head, and Obina was down. They searched his pockets, found his phone, smashed it. Then, with cold precision, they rolled him down the slope and into the rushing current. The river swallowed his whole. Chief Adekunle's men watched until the dark water carried him away. "Let the river tell the story," one muttered. Back under the bridge, Amina's grip was slipping. The current fought her every step. Obina's weight dragged heavy against her soaked clothes. She dug her heels into the muddy slope, inching higher. Her breath came in short bursts. Amina didn't know who he was. She didn't care. All she knew was that if she let go, the river would finish what it started. One last pull, and they collapsed onto the wet concrete, gasping. Obina's eyes fluttered open, confused and weak. "You're safe," Amina whispered, though she wasn't sure if that was true. From the shadows, the two men in black coats stepped forward.
The taller one spoke first.
"Leave him, girl. This one is not your business." Amina's body tensed. She stepped in front of Obina, her arms out, even though she was half their size. "He's hurt," she said. Her voice trembled, but she didn't move. The shorter man smirked. "Exactly, and if you know what's good for you, you'll walk away and forget you ever saw him." Amina's eyes darted left, a narrow drain tunnel by the wall. She didn't think. She grabbed his arm. "Come on." They stumbled toward the opening just as one of the men lunged. A blade sliced through the air, missing her shoulder by inches. Amina dove into the tunnel, dragging Obina with her. The smell of damp metal and stagnant water filled her nose. Behind them, angry footsteps splashed closer. The drain opened into a cramped service alley. Faint orange light spilled from a broken street lamp. Obina leaned against the wall, gasping. "Why? Are they after me?" Amina wiped rain from her face. "I don't know, and right now, I don't care. We just need to keep moving." She took his hand, cold and trembling, and led him deeper into the maze of back streets. But the city at night was a hunter's playground. Every shadow felt alive. Every passing car slowed just a little too much. By dawn, they reached the edge of the old market. Amina guided him through shuttered stalls, past rows of overturned baskets and stray dogs picking at scraps. She led him to a wooden shack tucked behind a stack of water drums. Inside, the floor was bare except for a mat and a rusted cooking pot. "This is where you live?" Obina asked quietly. Amina didn't answer. She knelt, tore a strip from her wrapper, and pressed it against the wound on his side. He winced but said nothing. They sat in silence, listening to the muffled hum of the city waking up beyond the market walls. Hours later, the quiet was broken by the low growl of an engine outside. Amina peered through a crack in the door. 2 black SUVs. Her stomach dropped. "They found us." Obina's eyes hardened. "How?" Before she could answer, heavy boots pounded against the dirt. Men's voices echoed, sharp, commanding. Amina grabbed Obina's hand again. "Back way, now." They slipped through a gap in the wall and into a narrow lane.
They walked for nearly an hour, sticking to back streets, ducking into shadows whenever headlights swept past. The rain had eased, but every puddle reflected the street lamps like tiny traps. Amina finally stopped in front of a rusted metal gate. She tapped twice, paused, then tapped once more. A slot in the gate slid open, revealing a pair of suspicious eyes. "It's me," she said quietly. The slot slammed shut, and the gate creaked open just enough for them to slip inside. An older man in a faded kaftan emerged from the shadows. "Amina." His voice was warm but wary. "Who's this?" "His name is Obina," she said. "He needs a place to hide." The man's eyes lingered on Obina's torn, blood-stained suit. "You're bringing heat here," he said slowly. "Big heat." "He'll be gone by morning," Amina promised. They settled on the cold concrete floor. Obina leaned back against the wall, wincing at the pain in his side. "You didn't tell me your name before," he said. "Amina," she replied softly. "And you're Obina, the man who fell out of the sky." He chuckled weakly. "Not the sky, the governor's compound." She froze. Her mind replayed the moment under the bridge. The expensive suit. The way the men chased him like prey. "You're the governor's son?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Not for much longer if they catch me." Amina sat back, heart pounding. She had no family, no ties, nothing left to lose. But this man, this stranger, was tied to power, politics, and danger she couldn't even imagine. "Why are they after you?" she asked. "Because I know something I shouldn't," he said, his eyes darkening. "And someone I trusted wants me dead before I can speak." Amina didn't press further. She had learned long ago that knowing too much could be fatal. Outside, the sound of footsteps crunched on wet gravel. The older man stiffened. "Stay here," he whispered, disappearing toward the gate. Through a crack in the workshop wall, Amina saw them, 2 black coats glistening with rain standing at the entrance. Her breath caught. The taller one spoke, his voice calm but dangerous. "We're looking for someone. Tall, dark, expensive suit. Bleeding." The older man shook his head. "No one like that here." A pause. Then the shorter man smiled without humor. "If you see him, tell him Chief Adekunle sends his regards." They turned and walked away, their footsteps fading into the night. Amina's relief was short-lived. When she turned back, Obina was gone.